Hey guys, welcome to Simplify Your Morning with Simplify DFS. I am your host today, Boomer's Daddy, and we are going to talk about how to leverage value plays or high ownership plays in tournaments, and where you can kind of get pivots from, and kind of go through how to kind of notice some of these things as you're looking at your research throughout the day. So we're going to go just off of initial ownership projections here. And one of the big things that I look for always is, who's in a good spot. And I do this by looking at DVP. I do it by looking at matchups, individual one-on-one, team situations, a bunch of different things that go on throughout the day. But just initially, I want to talk about this right here, okay? So you've got a high ownership guy in Terry Rozier, who I think is in a fantastic spot tonight. San Antonio's on the back end of a back-to-back with travel. They're in 3 games in 4 nights, and they just played a hard-fought game last night against the Pacers. So it's one of those things, like I really do like the spot. Plus, you've got Terry Rozier with no Devontae Graham, and he's under 6K. So there's no wonder why he's actually one of the initial higher projected point guards of the night. And these are Osmo's ownership percentages. If you have FC Pro, then you have these. If not, then just wait a couple hours and our ownership percentages will be out too. I'm just using these as an example for us for right now. Okay. Now the big thing about it is this: is when I'm looking at potential ownership leverage plays, okay, and I see a 5,700 Terry Rozier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at situations where I can gain the leverage of the field. Okay, so if you look at Terry Rozier at 5,700, we all know that, no offense, as much as I love the spot, we all know that it's Terry Rozier and he can bust. Okay, now I'm going to look at similar price points and below, okay, where I can leverage that. Well, the first guy that's going to come to mind is Shake Milton. And as we can see, there is a very, very small, about a 4-point difference in projection. Okay. If I were to just run 150 raw, Shake Milton is not going to come up. I don't think his ownership is going to be 14% because I don't know how many people are actually going to pay 5,700 for Shake Milton. But this is an example. Okay. So basically what I would do is I would, if I'm wanting to leverage, say, Terry Rozier, I'm going to knock that down twice. I'm going to pop this up twice, and that should basically counteract it. Okay. Now, the next one is, De'Aaron Fox. And you don't have to do this with every single player. You don't have to fade all. This is just when building 150, okay? You don't have to fade every single high ownership play. So say I wanted to do it instead, not with Terry Rozier, but with De'Aaron Fox, okay? He's 7,500. I've got Kyle Lowry. I've got Chris Paul. Now, granted, this is my weighted DVP projection. So we can see with this, it's going to get a massive boost. Okay. But it is De'Aaron Fox. He is questionable. Okay. And he could legit bomb. So say I wanted to take it and go with a Lonzo Ball, who seems to be a 15% own in a high scoring game, who's been balling out. I can knock him down 3. I can go up 1. And now I've got the chalkier, cheaper Terry Rozier. And Lonzo Ball is now going to take over as my primary, probably, point guard for De'Aaron Fox. Okay. Let's look at this here. Okay, 8,500. You could legit go DeMar DeRozan, although I wouldn't, over D'Angelo Russell. You could do it that way. Okay. Now, the biggest part is when you get like a chalkier value play. Okay, so say we've got Zion here against Minnesota, 8,200. Okay. There's a lot of options at the power forward position today, depending on the news that hits. I mean, you've got Anthony Davis, you got Jason Tatum, you've got all of them. Okay, you can legit just knock Zion out, fade him, and go on to the next one. I don't mind Zion, except here's the problem with him. 7 rebounds, 6 turnovers. That pretty much just kind of nixes each other out. The guy scored 35 points and scored 37 fantasy points. 29, 40, 28, 41. So he's not contributing a lot in the peripheral categories, but he's shooting the ball a ton. Okay. 8,200 is about that ceiling that I'm willing to pay. Okay. If he starts to climb in ownership throughout the day, for whatever reason, you can legit leverage him with another player on his team. It doesn't even have to be the same position. Okay. So as we look through this, you've got Zion as the second highest projected owned right now. I can take him. I can go boom, boom, boom. I can go over here to small forwards and click up on Brandon Ingram, who's $300 cheaper. And guess what? I've just leveraged the Zion chalk with a still chalky but lesser chalky ownership guy. Okay. You can also do it this way. This is what I love. Look at this guy right here. 1.9%. Okay. You can do it in a lot of different ways. Okay. But the big thing is you have to have a plan on leveraging some of this chalk with a guy, even if it's not around the same price point, with a guy that can legit outscore him or match him. If Zion, okay, so if Lonzo goes for 25, but De'Aaron Fox goes for 50, I'm done. I'm done. I need so much more to be made up that it's hard to make up for that. Okay. But if for some reason De'Aaron Fox goes for 25 and Lonzo goes for 45 at half the ownership, guess what I've just done? Especially depending on, let's just run 150 and see what happens. Look who are my two top. Yep. So I'm taking these two out of it and I'm putting him and Anthony Davis in. Okay. So you can see Anthony Davis, Lonzo Ball. And then if we look down here, we don't see any Zion. Wow. No Zion. No, very little De'Aaron Fox. That's how you leverage it. Now, going 3 thumbs up is a little extreme, but you get the idea. Okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to give you a completely different player pool within your 150. It's going to give you a completely different grouping within that 150. And it's going to allow you to not only leverage the field on those 2 options right there, but also a lot of other places as well, organically within the build that FC is creating. Okay. That's pretty much how I do it. I don't make a ton of adjustments. I let the projections work. The projections take in a lot more stuff than we can account for physically. and I just go from there. So, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Let's have a great day. Let's bink some tournaments.